Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, podcast show for the average Joe. This is the Wrestling Diaries, the blue collar conversation, the inspiration station. I'm your host, Mitchell Roulane. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and a plethora of other platforms that host audio podcasts. Leave us a review. It helps us show up in the searches. For the video content, go to YouTube. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. For more content, we release once to twice a week. The notification bell is up there. I usually point and it goes ding, and I forgot to do it. It's fine. Matt's going to put it up there. It'll be good. Today, I have a cool special guest that I have the pleasure of meeting for the very first time, all the way from Canada. Mandi, the Funk Master Funk.
Well, thank you for that amazing introduction. I appreciate it.
Yes. What is up, Funk Master?
Well, we got a little this and a little that on the west coast of Beautiful day in paradise.
So tell us whereabouts in Canada are you right now? Like, what are we looking at here in this background?
Well, you are looking at a little bay on the Pacific Northwest. So Vancouver Island and a tiny little island on the most west coast of Canada. And I live in what I think is the best spot on that island because we can go from the mountain to the ocean to anything in between in a day, in an hour. So it's pretty awesome. You can go surfing and snowboarding in the same day. And we do. Yeah. We love to. And I love living out here. It's fabulous. It's a beautiful place to be.
Nice. I thought you were about to go into the song God Bless America. From the mountains to the ocean.
Well, we could.
What with foam? God bless Canada, my home, sweet home. Sorry. Do you guys? So we have a pledge allegiance here. Obviously, a pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America thing. Do you guys? Do you have a version of that for Canada? And if you do, what is it? Is it "O Canada"? Matt says it's "O Canada."
Yeah, it's "O Canada."
Okay.
But that's kind of a controversial subject right now, the Canadian flag. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, It is.
Well,
yeah, they were using it in their convoy as a sign of freedom, and so the powers that be have kind of thrown it down to be a bit of a controversial thing right now. But yeah, if you're singing "O Canada" and you're a proud Canadian flying your flag, you're going to sing "O Canada," doing that for sure.
I see. Sweet. Yeah. So giving a quick little backstory, which there really is no backstory. I'm literally meeting you for the very first time, which is really a great distinct honor because I've known of you through similar circles that we've sort of rolled in. This sounds so crazy, like I'm talking street lingo. Yeah, you was in similar circles around the streets. But like, we were in this business academy course called London Real, and I've had a handful of wonderful people from around the world on my show from this, which is really great. This is like one of the best things I got from doing that. But you were in that. You were in a different class or group than I was, but I saw you like through your videos, and you're also a friend of a friend of a friend's of a friend's. And you had like, what was your, like, why were you going into London Real? What was your deal? And then I'll tell you mine after you tell me this.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Okay, so, well, 2020 was the beginning for me of my entrepreneurship in the world and presenting myself to the world as not an employee of anyone, but a entrepreneur, a Mandi Funk, spiritual being having a human experience. And I wanted to bring that, and I wanted to get rid of all of my employee connections and transform into my own person. So 2020 was the beginning of that, and it was a beautiful time to do it. Great timing. So the beginning of 2020, I set out to do that. And by the time I came to you, meeting you in the London Real Academy was about when I was really taking it seriously. So I had no idea what to expect going into that course at all, but it was amazing. I didn't get anything I expected from it either, but I got all these things here. I totally didn't. Yeah. And it's fabulous. Like connections like this from around the world. It's so beautiful. So it was quite a cool start to the year. And I wanted to just find my vocation and present that. And at that time, I wasn't sure how to get there. I had no clue. So London Real Academy helped me open my inner doors in how I offer my intellectual property,
Nice.
So it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, very well spoken. So the reason why I got into it was, and it's so funny because like the one that specifically we were in was about creating like an online presence and an online business and, digital entrepreneur, blah, blah, blah. And that wasn't like, I mean, obviously we're of like minds. Like I want to like be independent and make my own money and have that freedom, that's my mindset. But my initial reason that I was interested in it because like I wanted to get into podcasting. At the time, me and my best friend and producer here, Matt, we were already doing another podcast that was more personal. It was like just us and like some of our childhood friends that we grew up with. And we did this podcast where we were talking about like our childhood and different things that we did, wrestling and what have you. And then I was like, oh, I want to do like a more serious one. And I also want to figure out how can I do this and turn it into like a real lucrative thing? Like how could this be a business? I'm going to love doing it either way, but if I could turn what I love into something that like feeds me, that's like, that's like, I don't have to be a millionaire. If I can just figure out that formula, that's something really, really awesome. And so I went into there and then like I went into I don't know how I got into the business accelerator. I meant to do the broadcast. I think it's broadcast yourself, or I don't remember what it was called, but that was the one like I should have went into because that one specifically was about podcasting. And then somehow I ended up buying the wrong one. And I remember the first day when we're talking to our coaches, and they were like sending us messages and then talking to us one-on-one, I was freaking out because I was like, oh my gosh, I just paid all this money to the wrong damn course. I'm supposed to be in the broadcast yourself course. I don't want to learn how to be a life coach or sell it on the internet. Like I just want to do a podcast. I want to talk to people and have a good time. And like, I want to figure that out. Like, figure it out. And my coach, my teacher, Miss Betsy Billhorn, she was like, oh, well, it's cool. Just calm down, first of all. Secondly, like all the stuff that you would end up learning in broadcast yourself, like is a lot of the stuff that's already in this course. So really you're learning like the meat and potatoes of that. And then really you won't even have to do the broadcast yourself. Like you could just start doing your podcast. And I was like, oh, okay. Whew. All right. Whew. And so, that was kind of the story. It was kind of inadvertent, but I thought I was potentially going to start, I don't know, like a certain thing that didn't really pan out. I didn't want to be a life coach. I just don't feel like I don't know. Maybe I could in the future, but I just don't feel like I'm responsible enough to do that. But talking to people, I mean, I can talk to people all day long, and I feel like I have a good enough personality to bring that to the table. And so that's what I really wanted. And yeah. And then I, shortly after London Real was over, I had already started the show, and yeah, it's been going for about a year, a little over a year now. So that's my origin story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's wicked. Well, sometimes the universe has a different plan for you, and you just got to roll with it. And obviously it's been a good one for you. So Spirit was working it for you, and there you go. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. It's
because you would never have met all of those people if you hadn't have gotten in that course by accident. So
I know. Me and my friend Dunya talked about that. She was in my class, and
she's awesome. She's a powerhouse.
She is so wonderful. I love that lady so much. But we talked about that. And I was like, doesn't it ever like blow your mind that like if we don't do that, if we don't like, we don't know, we're not talking to each other, we're not pals, we don't like message each other, you're in a completely different country, you might as well be in a different world, and like we're connected, and that's so interesting. And that to me is what paid the dividends off of that course. Like Dr. Mo, our mutual friend, he said that like that is probably the most valuable thing, because you can't put a 100%. Price tag on like connecting with people.
Absolutely. And, I would say another aspect that was quite valuable was the way it made us go fast and deep, like you got to get into your own heart there, and you got to really figure it out, or you're not going to make it through this thing. And for me, that was super crucial in understanding, like, I always know I want to help people. I know I want to come from a spiritual and scientific place of following love. It's how I transformed my life leading up to the point of coming onto the course. But it's like, how? And like, I have a million ideas. How do you narrow it down? And so that course made us go in all the nitty gritty and pull out things that we didn't even know were there, and then allow it to help us change. And that was amazing for me. I had a lot of transformation mentally in that course, and I really used it. It was very, it was super beautiful. It was a beautiful, touching way to dive into my own self through doing this course. And then I never finished it, of course. I just barely just got to the very end and then didn't do it. I never pulled the trigger on creating the prime product. I'm still working on it, but that's okay because it was meant to be that way. And now it's going to be launched this year. And if I hadn't ever got to dive in and dig deep, then I wouldn't have spent 2 years exploring all of those things, coming to the point I'm at now where I'm like, okay, I totally know how and when and what, right? So sometimes the universe will throw you a loop, and it's a beautiful thing. And just go with it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So what is it that you, if I can ask, what is it that you're doing? What's your what business are you trying to start, or what brand are you trying to build for yourself?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a long backstory that I kind of need to understand. So I worked in all kinds of jobs. I spent a lot of time in corporate real estate. I was a general manager in retail, store managers, things like that. I worked in corporate real estate. And when I was there, I had this amazing, wonderful job, that the world tells you you're supposed to get. And that when you do, it's, a dream job and a dream life, and you're working Monday to Friday, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out for me, that wasn't a dream at all. What it did was it gave me lots of creature comforts and lots of material goods. And I went into that world because it was there and it was provided. And, I was going out for fancy dinners and going to different provinces in Canada and being paid to do it and all this stuff. But I gained like 175 pounds on my body doing that. So within, say, from the age of 23 to 33, I gained and then lost just about 200 pounds of body weight. And so when I was 30 years old, I was working in corporate real estate, and it was literally my 30th birthday, and I woke up that morning and I just started crying. I was like, what is this life? What am I doing? Like, why? We're all here to die. Why? Then why are we here? And I cried all day. That was just over 6 years ago. And I just knew that day that something had to change. And I'd gotten this job and made all this money and had, this fancy car and a nice house and all this stuff we were told was really important in life. And I was like, none of this is doing anything for me. It's not making me happy. I'm not helping anything or anyone, and certainly not myself. I'm now an obese person sitting on her ass every day, serving up help to an already loaded person, which is fine. That's why he hired me. But I just realized, like, why am I doing all this for somebody else? And what am I even doing here? So I basically, within a few months, I just quit. I just quit, and I cashed out all my investments, and I chopped off all my hair to like here, all gone. It was down to almost my ass. And I had what I used to call my Britney Spears moment, but actually now that's quite relevant because I learned what Britney Spears actually went through. And I found that to be quite amazing. So she's a resilient, powerful force too. And so I kind of went through that, and I took a year off and I started reading and learning and discovering. And I discovered the laws of the universe, the law of attraction, stuff like that. And I thought, hey, this is interesting. And I'm here seeking happiness and inner fulfillment. And I'm finding these new ways of thinking. And so I thought, maybe all these 30 years of being one way isn't the way it is. So I opened my mind to new ways of thinking, and subsequently new ways of being. So I applied the law of attraction to my own life, but to my heart, it wasn't about weight loss. Like, I understood I was large and fat and obese and all this, but as I already knew I wasn't seeking to be smaller. I was seeking happiness and fulfillment, and vocation. I just didn't quite know it at the time, but following all these universal laws and applying them to my thoughts, and the simple thing like thoughts become things transformed my life, right? Because I went from a complaining person who saw the negative in everything, just by way of conditioning and growing up. It just kind of, you become what you see and what you're around. And but I didn't know that I could change that. And then when I did I really started changing my thoughts, and that started changing my body, because whatever you hold within is without, right? As above, so below, however you want to get into that. And I stopped complaining. I started being grateful, and I started finding forgiveness for all the things I used to blame my life about, or the people in the past. And I discovered consciousness, and that we're energy, and that we're spiritual beings having human experience. And so I used that to propel me forward. And I just kept following that. And people, places, and things would come into my life. Not only that, but my body was transforming. And people were like, "Oh my God, Mandi, like, do you know you've lost weight?" And I'd be like, "Leave me alone. I'm trying to change my life. Go away." And so, after a year, after I think it was like 9 or 10 months, not quite a year, I'd lost about 100 pounds. And this was in 2017. And in 2017, I also went through quite a few life-death experiences, not personally, but being a part of them. And so the transformation that I had been discovering became more than that. It didn't just become happy thoughts, become happy things, which is true. It became, holy shit, like at any point, at any time, we could go. You don't get to be old. There's such an awakening in the really understanding that. And in 2017, I saw all these life-death experiences. So it propelled me forward and much further into my own spiritual discoveries. And then 2017 until 2020, I just transformed mind, body, spirit fully, entirely. And by 2020 came, I was like, okay, I don't know. This time I had found kickboxing and martial arts. And so I had gone from this very obese person to this very strong, fit, like woman who's a powerhouse and trying to become some sort of martial artist. And 2020 came, and I knew that all of these things were a part of it, but like how? But the number one thing was the consciousness within. And so all of these discoveries over all these years, and all of this transforming and viewing and participating in things that I could not control, I realized that I wanted to help women specifically love themselves, but not just love themselves, to love themselves, like understand what self-love actually does for you energetically. And you can be anyone you wish to be. You can look like anyone you wish to be. Because a lot of people over those times would say to me, like, "Mandi, I wish I was like you." And I'd always say, no, be like you. You are so unique and you're so beautiful. And that's the whole point of everything I did to be this way, is to be myself and to follow my heart and to awaken, right? And understand consciousness at a really incredible level that I didn't know existed, obviously, before that. And it's so powerful. And so my vocation comes from that. And by the time I'd gotten into the 2020 and then the London Real Academy, I was pretty sure I knew that whatever I was going to launch or propose in my offerings would be about love, but consciousness, not just hippy dippy love, like the real transformative. Let's get to the nitty gritty of your soul and what your soul is here to do. And when you see that, you start to see the beauty you hold. And you start to see the beauty in other things where you used to find negative, you find positive. And putting that into a course, taking my intellectual property and how I transformed my physical being and sharing that with women, because I didn't set out to lose weight. Like I say, there's so much. I set out to find happiness, and I found consciousness, and I found the laws of the universe, and I found that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And those things are what sustained everything. Now, 6 years later. So my course, as you can see, I'm quite passionate about it. But it comes down to consciousness. And, we're really special. Each one of us is quite unique in our own energetic way. And so if you can find what that is, and you can hone in on it, and then, and then use it, wow, you got some magic, right? You can be or do anything you want in life. And so my offerings, when they come to fruition this year, will be based around that.
Nice. Yeah, that's
self-love, man.
That's a hell of an origin story there, if I've ever heard one. Definitely should I don't know if you ever want to look into doing literature, but you should probably write a book. I don't say this to everybody, just so we're clear. I don't say that to everybody. I only say it to people that I think that when I hear their story, when I see them or I listen to them speak, especially if they've got a specific story to tell about themselves, one that is a journey that takes them from one point to another point, and from the first point to the next point is like them moving up, they're moving up. I feel like that's very important for other people to hear, because it can facilitate being medicine to somebody else. Somebody else really needs to hear it. Because I guarantee you, like, a lot of the reason, everything in life is about variables, right? I never believe anything's just truly black or white, or something is completely this way or that way. Everything's broken up like a pie chart, right? And there's certain slivers and there's certain sections of it. And when it comes to me being where I'm at personally, and I can't speak for everybody else, but I just feel like it does apply to everybody else, in my unprofessional opinion, is that there's little things like that you hear from other people, stories, successes, inspirations, motivations, that plant these little seeds. And if you actually water them and take care of them, they'll start growing. And then the more seeds you plant, the more of a forest you'll have in the very end. Yes. I know that's like this very like wild analogy or whatever, but yeah, that's how I kind of look at it. And
I obviously love that analogy.
Yeah, obviously I feel like you, like me, you picked up like little tidbits of that. And so, to my point, you writing a book, or just, doing what you're doing, maybe writing a book, is just different ways for you to get your message out there. Like you're a missionary, right? I don't know what your actual religious faith is, but just you're on a mission and you're spreading gospel out there. What gospel is it? I don't know. For you, it's probably your own personal gospel, but it's an important gospel because it's stuff that people need to hear, especially if it's for their betterment. So very poetic.
I appreciate that. I really like poetic. That analogy. It's all about it's all about. I write poems all the time. I actually quite love literature, and in fact, excellent. I have it on my list one day to write a book, because I so deeply believe in the power of love and how transformative it is. And if you're looking for something inside, you're not going to ever find it outside. You're not going to find it in any material good, in any other person, in any other thing. You're only ever going to find it in here, in your heart. And self-love and leading with love, quite frankly, is the easiest way to get that started.
Yeah. And honestly, also, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say that classic saying that goes, of course, now it's
it's fine.
The changes one, right? Like when you look at the way you look at things, change. Okay, this is a better one. They used to say, I'll believe it when I see it.
Right.
I've changed that because I'll see it when I believe it.
Yeah.
Because whatever you believe is true. If you believe you're ugly, you're right. If you believe you're beautiful, you're also right.
Yeah.
If you believe you're fat, you will be. You can change it by changing your narrative.
Yeah. And for anybody listening to this right now, what she's saying isn't just like spiritual, metaphysical mumbo jumbo. It is, but it's also scientific. It's like psychoschematic. It's like placebo, right? So like if you really believe it, your brain will like make your body react to the ways that you feel that you're thinking, right? So like if you feel like you're cold, oh my gosh, it's so cold, and you keep saying, oh, it's cold, it's cold, it's cold, you're going to trick your brain into thinking that it's actually cold, and your brain is going to do the things, the mechanics that it would do when you're normally cold. And so, it's a real thing. It's So
if you want to sum it up, like for the last 6 years, I've just been penetrating my subconscious mind with new aligned thoughts, right? It's quite simple, but it's very, very hard, because you have to rework 30 years or whatever you're up to in this life of different programming from different outside ways. And so to do that for yourself is a whole new ball game, a whole new set of rules. And it's hard. It's hard, but it's easy. It takes
what you just said,
and
reworking it.
So
reworking it. I always use that analogy too. I'm like, you're born a certain way in society and stuff like that. You're wired a certain way. And then when you get older, if you have that peak into the other side, you might be like, oh, this is not what I want in life. So now you have to spend so much time rewiring all these wires that are all crossed over into like the correct way that'll help you flow and be better as a person. Of course, this is just my opinion, but it's like being in the Matrix. You're unplugging yourself.
That's exactly what it is.
See the real world.
Illusion.
Yeah.
everything's an illusion and everything is a dream. And whatever you can see with your human eyes, okay, there's like a million more things that you can't see.
Sure.
And if you want to bring it into fruition and see it with your human eyes, it starts in your mind. It starts with your thoughts. You're absolutely right. They're very transformative, and they're very indicative of what happens in your 3D reality. Totally.
Yeah. Before we continue on with our philosophical rants back and forth, you said you write poetry. So before the show's over, would you like to recite one of your favorite pieces? And I'll recite you one of mine, just so it's fair. Okay. You can hear something I wrote, and then I'll read you something that I wrote. I think that would be really great. I'd love to hear your poetry. I've listened to you. I think I've watched some of your videos back in the day where you were like rhyming and stuff. You're like talking and rhyming, and I was like, this lady,
I can't help
look at her. That's awesome, though. You're like a lyricist. I don't know if you do music or not, but that's lyricists do that. I know a lot of them, and a lot of lyricists and musicians around me, and some of them speak in rhyme and in riddle, and it's amazing. Great.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good old stuff.
That's great. It's beautiful, isn't it? Well, the universe is beautiful, and when you recognize that you're always working with something you cannot see, and even more so if you level that up a bit and you say thank you to everything you cannot see, your life's going to accelerate for the best.
Yeah, and another thing I wanted to add on to what you're saying, because you're talking about like your thoughts become things, and the law of attraction, and like spirituality, and believing in things and manifesting like your thoughts into real things. One thing I wanted to say for a lot of people, because I've met some people, and I don't know where you would fit in this category because I don't know you that well, but some people too, they sit back and they just try to like manifest it just by sitting. And sometimes maybe you can. When it comes to like stuff like the law of attraction, I believe it to an extent. I'm also like a big cynic about stuff as well. But what's very important, I think, for anybody listening to this is you should apply that. I feel like it's really a good practice, but also you got to make sure, especially if you're trying to reach a goal or your dreams or whatever, you also got to work motherfucking hard. You got to work hard. You also got to be disciplined, because like it's like there's a quote from the Christian Bible that says, "Faith with no work is dead." So that's very important. And that also goes into my theory about how things are built up of variables. Nothing is just one simple thing. It's a multitude of things that makes up the whole pie, right? You have a pizza, like all the slices have to make the full circle of the pie you're eating. And if there's one's missing, then it's not a whole pie. And so there's different variables in that. So that's also very important to remember. The power of belief is a powerful, strong thing, but you also got to get off your ass, get your hands dirty, and dive, son. Dive.
Yep. Persistence, consistency, and believing you can. That's pretty well the recipe for success.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just take action on those thoughts, especially if they're aligned with your highest self. If they're aligned with the best version that you want to bring to the world, then take action. And my number one, when people ask me, because we know major weight loss is the biggest market in the world, and I understand that, and I appeal to it, but it's definitely not what I'm out to present, right? But I get it because I walked that story. So what I say to anyone who constantly says to me, what do you do? Well, aside from feeding your body the fuel it needs, mind and body, right? Food and thoughts, you got to take action. And even if you wake up and you don't feel like taking any action, just take like a little tiny bit and do a little bit every day. And after a year, after 2 years, you'd be shocked at what you've done, what you've accomplished. Because you're right. You need to get up and do it. Take the action, or you'll never be successful in any of it. Thoughts can just sit there, and if you don't bring them to fruition, that's on you.
Yeah, 100%.
We have free will.
Another analogy that I'll say real quick, and then I'll quit on my analogy train, is like I look at that as like you are exquisitely intelligent, and you know exactly how to build a workable combustible engine and an automobile. And not only do you have all the working mechanics in your head to do the mechanics and creation of an automobile that will work, and you can drive, and you can like whatever, but you have all the supplies and materials and machinery that you need in your garage. So you have the knowledge and the willpower, or not the willpower, you have the knowledge and the tools to create a car, an automobile, and you know how to make it and you could do it. But if you don't go into that garage and pick up the wrench and start putting it together, then you're never going to go anywhere. You're never going to drive anywhere, right? All that knowledge and all those materials they'll sit there and collect dust. So, all right, I'm done with my analogy kick now. Dude, we are talking so much inspirational stuff right now. Like, I'm surprised, like, Tony Robbins isn't just materializing in front of us. He's like, hey, guys, I heard you talking about motivational, inspirational stuff, and I just thought I'd pop in real quick.
Oh, there he is, right there.
Oh, there he is. Oh, God. That actually scared the shit out of me, man. Like, I would probably piss my pants. Like, Matt would probably be like, what's going on here? I would piss my pants and probably pass out. I'm like, oh, my God, there's a man. It just appeared.
And I would laugh.
You would laugh. I'd pass out and piss on myself. That's what would happen.
Yeah.
But no, I
would be so happy if that could happen. It would blow my mind. And I don't think it's impossible, but it's pretty hard.
Right. It's not impossible. It's just very improbable. The math is not on our side. So outside of just being super inspirational, and you're on this journey to be an entrepreneur and start your own deal and build your own brand and inspire people and women and all these things. What do you do, like, outside of fun? What's a regular, ordinary thing that Mandi Funk likes to do?
So I love martial arts, kickboxing, and when the world opens in Canada again, I'll be back and learning BJJ.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
That would be a great big hobby of mine. I love to do lots of things. I play soccer, have played my whole life. So soccer is a number one. I'm very athletic in it, and I go. I have a big dog, and him and I go in the woods every day. We love to be in the forest with nature and grounding. And I own a small local business as well. So I keep really busy with that. I have a clothing and retail business based on ethical and sustainable practices.
Oh, hell
so
yeah.
I'm wearing a hoodie made from hemp and bamboo, which is beautiful, and it's local. And then I support people as well who are local to Western Canada who practice ethical and sustainable
that is so awesome.
So it's beautiful. Yeah, there's retail. I ship all over the world. There's retail, like home decor, babies and kids. I give lots of stuff for people who have to come and get their gifts for their babies from me, or new babies coming into their family. And it's a beautiful business. But I ride my bike a lot too, mountain biking. I haven't done now for about 7 months. In 2021, I had the universe give me a little test. And so my physical journey was kind of put on hold for the last year. So I'm just getting back into doing all the things I love full swing. And mountain biking is one of them. Actually, that's one I need to get better at because currently I kind of suck. But that's fun. It's really fun. We have trails everywhere here. Some of the best mountain biking.
Dang, I wish I was there. Wish I was there to see
it's
all
a great place to be.
A really good friend of mine is visiting randomly. She's never been there before, but she's in Alaska right now. I know that's not part of Canada, but it's in your neighborhood. Yeah, it's pretty close.
It's attached to us.
I definitely, I have taken a trip to Canada, but I was so young, I don't remember it, and I don't remember where we went. Like, we drove over there, but yeah, I've seen pictures. I've heard how gorgeous it is, all that nature. I feel like I would love to I would like have a property out there, like out in the woods or on the hill, maybe like wherever you're at looks like it would be cool. I would just go out there and just like meditate, and just be by myself, sit in the woods.
Right on the water. Yeah,
exactly.
That too,
man.
That's what you do here. Yeah,
I
live on the water in a little bay.
You're super chill because you just got like you're super chill because you're just out in the wilderness and you're just taking in all this natural medicine and energy. Either that or you're just a super huge pothead and you're high all the time, so that makes you chill.
Yeah, I worked through that in my last few years. In fact, that's funny you say that though. That's a really cool thing of being on the West Coast, and it's a healing nature gift. So I'm not against it, but that's big out here. West Coast cannabis, for sure.
West Coast BC. Cannabis. It sounds like a...
BC bud is some of the best in the world, eh?
Hey. I love it. I love she does the A thing. Sorry, I'm super immature. Hey, yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is super cool.
Have you ever visited... had more of an accent, that would have been fun. But anyway.
Yeah, well, I can have more of an accent.
Throw down your Alabama accent already.
Mandi, you crazy. You was crazy as a coon in a wet hut outside in the leaves when I watching the sun dry to mud. There's ding dong Dell duty in the well.
I'm not from there, so you fooled me.
Yeah, people down here, a lot of people that I'll talk to, these southern gents, they'll be like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I go, here. I've said once Birmingham, because that's our big major city here, Birmingham, Alabama. And then I think somebody once was like, "Wait, Birmingham, England?" And I was like, "Yes, that's why I have a British accent." No, not Birmingham, England. No, well, you just don't talk like everybody else. And I was like, "I'm sorry." Yeah,
my bad.
my bad. I'm sorry. I don't have the. I did when I was younger. I had more of a southern kind of accent and stuff like that. But I guess as I got older, it just I lost it. And it's funny because my brothers and sisters are all as country as a turnip green with their accents and stuff. But I don't know. I guess I like enunciating more. I honestly could not tell you. Don't know. But yeah.
Well, that's cool. It's a unique aspect of Mitchell.
I guess so.
It's from Alabama, but you don't know.
Makes me I'm just a weirdo. Just an oval shape in this sea of circles. Oh my gosh. So do you do a lot of active things? You said exercise stuff, soccer, martial arts, hiking. Is there anything that's more nerdy that you do? Like you Netflix and chill or go watch movies or play board games or video games or anything like that? Or are you just outdoorsy active person?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. But I love other things like chill, quiet things. So obviously, I meditate a lot. I do that a lot. It's really important to me in this life to do that. But fun stuff I love photography. I love to read.
Nice.
What do I do that's weird and interesting?
With reading.
What are my weird habits?
You never played video games? You didn't get into Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, but I'm shitty and I have 2 brothers and they always beat me, so video games.
Hey, well, you got to keep going, man. Law of attraction. Just believe you'll win and you'll win.
Believe it. I would have to be in front of that thing for a while to win.
Playing it, yeah. Your eyes start twitching. Your eyes vibrating.
Yeah, pretty much. Is this part of it?
Yeah, it's part
yeah,
of
but
the
you
thing.
get me on N64 from back in the day.
Ooh, old school.
Mario. Yeah, I'm in. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Matt's a huge
games these days
vintage video game guy.
Too scary. The games these days have lots of fighting and guns. I'm not really a fan, but I'll do the racing games. Racing games are good. I'll win lots of those too. I do win lots of racing games. Dude,
considering you are a very outdoorsy person, very active, you love nature. I mean, you live in nature. You're in that part of Canada and stuff on the bay, you said. I think a video game that you'd really like is The Legend of Zelda, that kind of stuff, to where you're it's this large, expansive world of nature and he's in a forest or he's in a volcano or he's in an Iceland or he's swimming or he's riding horseback. And then he's also, on top of that, fighting ghouls and goblins and he's a knight. And I feel like you would really love that game. So
for sure.
If you ever,
get my inner warrior princess out.
Yeah, at any point, if you ever want to get into video games, just give The Legend of Zelda a try.
Legend of Zelda.
Legend of Zelda.
Made a mental note for that.
Boom.
Keep it in mind.
There you go. Roll Tide. I know you don't know what that means, but. What about sports? Are you follow any sports? Soccer or football?
Well,
I guess.
Mitchell. I used to be quite obsessed, but I got to tell you, in the last couple of years, I lost my interest. I used to be really obsessively sport minded, every Jays game. I would say actually that baseball is probably the only sport I really, really followed. Hockey, of course, because it's hockey in Canada.
Right. Yeah.
And but the last couple of years, I haven't been into it because it's political. Why I haven't been into it, I just don't feel it like I used to. It comes across as more of a TV show than actually people playing the sport. And yeah. So the last couple of years, I haven't followed anything. And it shocks people because I'm really quite well known as a sporty person, but I don't dig it anymore. If I was going to a live event, totally, absolutely. But I don't really go out of my way to watch TV at all anymore. I listen to podcasts. Good news there.
I know a really good podcast you should check out.
A lot of music. Yeah. Music would be a hobby of mine too.
Oh yeah,
I'm
same
just
here.
starting to learn the piano.
But yeah, if you like podcasts, there's this really awesome podcast that's so simple. It's like small town, but the depth it has might as well be like the biggest volcano that this planet has. It's called the Wrestling Diaries. And what it's about is like this guy. He's just like average guy. He's like a nobody. There's nothing important about him. He's kind of funny, I guess, and interesting and maybe a little charming. And he has just regular people on, and they talk to him about cool stuff, right? The people from middle of society, and they talk about themselves and feel good and feel like a celebrity, even though they might not literally be one. And then they talk about the things that they wrestle with, this deep-seated emotional baggage that they fight with, their demons, their monsters. You should really check it out. It's a really good show. I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, this is great. I've heard that you've recently interviewed this really awesome chick from Canada too. So hey,
yeah, there you go.
Watch it.
There you go. That's boom. We got it. We got it going.
Done.
Bada bang, bada boom. This has been very delightful. You sound like you've had a lot of fun. I guess I can't really speak for you. Maybe just everything makes you happy.
I definitely have been working on that the last 6 years, Mitchell. As we said, like outwardly, always. Yeah, you're right. You're bang on. But for a long time, not inwardly, but like the last 6 years, inwardly too. And so I think that that's really that catches on with people. They feel that. And so I like that. I like that feeling. So yeah, inwardly and outwardly, you're right. Now I do my best on that. It's a long road to get there, but it's very worth it. I love to be happy, and there's no point to not be. And there's no point in complaining. Like, we all go through shit. Everything's valid. All of our complaints are valid. And I mean, each person has their own journey, right? So a complaint from that person and a complaint from me might be completely different, but both very valid. And we're all on a journey. So
yeah. So in lieu of that,
punches.
Yeah. In lieu of that, and in lieu of the Wrestling Diaries, what is Mandi Funk? What is something that you deal with? What do you wrestle with day to day, or something that you wrestled with once upon a time, or anything that you find to be your biggest villain in life, the monsters under your bed and demons in your closet? What is it that you are wrestling with?
Yeah, I wrestle with not doing enough in the world. So feeling like I'm not offering and giving enough. I wrestle with that a lot. And so what it does is it creates sometimes procrastination as well, and confusion with other people as well. Like, what is she even doing? So I really do. I wrestle with not giving enough. And honestly, lately, I wrestle with quitting smoking weed. Like, I love smoking marijuana. I do. And I have nothing against it. It's helped me with my depression. It's very good. But I also am an athlete. So I wrestle back and forth. In October 2020, I quit smoking marijuana. And it was great. And I was an even better athlete. And then, you know, life in 2021, as I said, I went through some things, and I kind of had to put my physical on hold. And so I picked it back up again because it helped me so much with my depression. And I wrestle with that, man, because I'm not against it. I love it. I live in BC. But sometimes too much of a good thing isn't good, right? So that's something I wrestle with in the 3D world. And in my mind, in that higher dimension, I wrestle with not having enough time to do what I want to do while I'm here.
What do you mean?
It's like not thinking I'm not giving enough to the world. I know I'm here to do a lot and help a lot of people through. So like every day, it's like I feel like I'm just not getting enough done. I don't know how to explain it. It's like everything is divine timing, and I know it, but I wrestle with that a lot. Like, come on, you can do more. You can do more. Get more done all the time. And I'm hard on myself for that.
Yeah. How do you think you can combat that? How does that look?
Well, it's something I've asked myself a lot, and I work through it a lot. It's a hard call, but earlier we were talking about action and taking action. And so I've been bringing upon myself the last few months, because I'm so empathetic and I've been working so much on my spirituality. I truly feel everything that is happening in the world, and it weighs on me so much that it stops me from taking as more action every day.
Right.
So the last few months I've been working on how I could eradicate that, because I don't really need to set a schedule or have, I'm very blessed. So creating a schedule and being consistent for my vocation has been my main mode of attack for that.
Nice.
And anyway, marijuana, as soon as I'm back being an athlete full time, it's all good. It doesn't matter. It's all good. But I do wrestle with that, and you asked, so there you go. But no,
Sweet, man.
like creating a consistent schedule. And earlier we had talked about taking action, and if you just do a little bit every day, you'll get to where you want to go. Sure. That's what I've been working towards. So it's a big wrestle for me.
Okay. Now, in closing, this one's going to go, I guess, a little bit more personal. It's a two-parter question, and I'll ask you. We'll wrap it up, and then we'll read each other's poems. You still down to do that?
Yeah, totally.
So, what is one of the saddest, most heart-wrenching moments that you faced in your lifetime? And what lesson did you learn from? What did you take away from it? You endured, and then what did you take away from that in a positive way?
I will tell you right now, I could bring it up. I could bring up 5 things, but I'll tell you the number one thing. In 2017, I told you I went through a lot of life-death experiences and situations, not for myself, but in being a part of them. One of them, I was on a date with a man in this July 26th of 2017. And this man was not from here. He's from elsewhere in the world. And we went on a date to a swimming hole. And on this date, it was very hot for Vancouver Island, by the way, just to paint a picture. Beautiful swimming hole, paradise, fully. This is a swimming hole, though, where you can't touch the bottom and there's no shore. So you're basically jumping off deep rocks to get in, and then you have to know how to swim to hang out there. So I get in the water 3 or 4 times. It's 30 degrees. That's really hot here, so hot. And I get in and out. And my friend I'm on a date with, he's not getting in. And I'm peer pressure him a number of times. Get in the water. It's so fucking hot. What are you doing? And 3 or 4 times I was just get in. Oh my God. And so I turned. And then when I turned back, I saw him stand up and jump in the water fully clothed. And do you remember when you were a kid and you went swimming with your parents, and your parents would go under the water and they would pretend they're like a shark trying to get you or something under the water, and they'd swim towards you and try and get your feet? So
yes.
In my mind, when he was under the water, his hands were going up and down, and I thought that's what he was doing. So I kind of ignored him and swam away from him. But it turned out he actually had kind of misled me to believe that he could swim when he couldn't. In fact, he was drowning to death. And it took me a really long time to clue in. Somebody even on the shore was like, is he okay? I was like, oh yeah, he's playing a game. It's all good. And it took me way too long to clue in, but I did clue in. And I swam back, and when I looked down, he was lifeless underwater. And so now, in terms of timing, this was when I had come to the time where I'd lost 100 pounds through my thoughts, right? So this was the universe giving me an opportunity to see something more than what I could see with my human eyes. So I had an experience about half an hour before he passed away that was very spiritual, that I can't really explain, and probably don't have the time to try and explain. But let's just say after that is when he drowned. So I dove down and I pulled him up. And because I had lost 100 pounds, and because I was just a strong, capable person, and I had come to that point and I was ready for that moment, I was able to float and keep us both afloat, keeping his head out of the water and performing CPR while floating. Whoa. And I was not having success. So I had to swim with us, keeping him above, to where I could find somewhere to get myself in the shore to get him out of the water. But like I had mentioned, it was a deep swimming hole. And here we have rivers, and our river rocks are very slippery and slimy. So it's good luck getting out. You have to go find one of these little holes that the rocks have naturally created so you can have a handhold to grab. And so I couldn't find one of those while I was swimming and just trying my best to keep him alive. And at the last second, I thought, oh, fuck, I know what I'll do. So I turned him and I held him like this with his face facing towards me. And then I took my hand here and I pushed up there into his sternum area or whatever to release the water. And as I did that, I pushed him onto shore. And luckily, as I did that and pushed myself away, because that was the only way I could do, is use my full force so it would separate us. But he got on shore, and for whatever reason on this hot day in that moment too, there was no people around. Like, I don't know how, but it's just, this big moment. I heard him cough up water as I fell back under the water. And then when I came up, there was all of a sudden people there pulling him out of the water. And it was all good. He was alive. And he would tell me later that he died because he'd seen his mother, who he told me who had passed away recently, like 2 years before, something like that. So that man died that day. And it was because I peer pressured him so many times to get in the water. Okay, so everything's divine timing. I don't blame myself for it, but that is like a lesson that I can never get out of my head. It's like, if someone says no, they mean no. Don't pressure them to do it.
Yeah.
If someone says no, don't do it. So that was a lesson that inspired everything for me spiritually. And then like the rest of 2017, I would see a lot more kind of events like this, which propelled me down the path, which got me here in this moment with you even. Right. So huge lesson to be learned that day. And I didn't take it lightly, and I don't. And I do my very best not to use my 30 years of conditioning and programming to naturally poke at someone. We just do that as people, right? We don't really know how it affects them, but it does. I think part of that is peer pressure in a situation where there's all kinds of people around, and you just jumped in because I kept telling him to, like, why are you being such a baby? It's so hot, like sort of thing, right? So anyway, that's what I learned.
Wow. Damn.
Big deep one, I know. But
that's heavy.
It's a part of my
lady,
spiral,
that's heavy.
So.
That's heavy. All right. So the second part of this question is, now in contrast to that question, what is one of the happiest or most joyous moments of your life? And what do you take away from that?
Okay. So, like, I have two things that come to mind. I'm going to share one that's not quite as deep. It's a bit of a lighter subject. And actually, that was in June 2020. I got a puppy for the first time. And that's great. That's fine. Everyone gets puppies. Okay. But I had never had anything before that was from a baby. So I don't have children or anything like that. And I never really had thoughts to. But what this puppy did for me was he showed me what I always talk about with love, and love is energy. And just by him simply loving me unconditionally, it taught me how to love better and be a better person for other people and for myself. So having a small puppy that I had to take care of and grow and nurture and not get mad at, and like all these human things that can get in the way of something, like credit to all the parents out there. Oh my gosh. But that taught me deep seated love that I had never known before. It's one of the best experiences and feelings of my life.
Sure. Yeah. When it comes to like dogs and stuff, I don't have one personally. I have had them through the years, usually through my mom and all that, but never one just to myself. But there's something about like, there's a reason why they call dogs man's best friend. It's because it's just this creature, right? that looks up to you and loves you in a way that it literally loves you unconditionally. Like a dog, like a good dog loves you unconditionally for no rhyme or reason. You could even be mean to it, be bad to it, not feed it, not love it, or hit it, and it'll still love you. It'll still be there, still wait for you. And it's just this, and like for a human being, because like one thing about like humans is I don't know if like anybody really can love another person fully 100% unconditionally, because we are so flawed, right? We are so flawed. We are perfectly imperfect. But then there's this animal, this lesser creature it doesn't have the same wiring and workings of our minds and brains, but it loves you unconditionally. And from my vantage point, from my own personal faith, I always use this analogy, and I was like, maybe that's why this thing that loves you, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve it for it to love you or any of the shit, but it loves you unconditionally. It would die. It would literally die for you. If somebody's trying to hurt you, that's why they have those police dogs that will take bullets for their police officer counterparts. This thing that loves you, and you might not even deserve it. It loves you unconditionally, no matter what, no matter the price, how good you are, how bad you are. It loves you. Maybe that's why dog spelled backwards is God.
I was going to say that.
That was always an analogy, because what if the concept of God is this being that loves you unconditionally? It doesn't matter like what you are, what you do, but it loves you unconditionally. And based on your own personal faith, you can take that what you will. But I feel like it's a really good analogy, regardless of what you believe. But you saying that made me think of that. And that's a really awesome story.
I thank you. I appreciate that. I always try to, from like say 2017 on, I've always tried to take the saying, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you,
I like that.
heart, and to really believe it, because it's really important in transformation too, in all ways, and just finding peace within when something bad is happening outside of you, and it's there and it's present in your life. You can really use that to be like, okay, wait, this isn't bad, there's something better, right? So that's beautiful. Dog, it is spelled God backwards, and we know that's not a coincidence.
I don't think it is.
You source energy, the greatest energy. The thing that I use to transform my life is love. Through love, because it's energy, it's scientific, it's spiritual. Quantum physics is really showing us how this is so important and relevant in our everyday. And actually, it doesn't really matter what you believe. Most people can see that there's some sort of higher power. And that's what I used to not believe in God. I definitely believe God is real now. I know God is real. But I don't believe in religion. I believe that's a human-made construct, right? So it's like, it's how you look at it. 5 years ago, I thought only a higher power. Before that, I believed in nothing. So it depends on your experiences and what you go through and what you're willing to open your mind to perceive, right? Differently 100%. Than how you always did. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Manny, that was wonderful. Amen and amen. Thank you so much for doing this. This is so awesome. And also thank you seriously from the bottom of my heart for sharing those very intimate details about your own personal life. I mean, you don't know me. Like, we're strangers. We essentially just met like today through this digital means, but I really appreciate when people open up and share those intimate details. It means a lot. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to people that listen to the show and consume it. And so thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for recognizing that. I think that's the beautiful thing. Just having the ability to recognize and give someone some love for something they offered you, that's beautiful. It's a really good characteristic to have. And thank you for being you, Mitchell. It's great. Very easy to chat with you, and I don't mind sharing. My life's an open book. So it's just what it is. And if we don't share, how can we help someone else? So maybe someone will see this video and have a little more faith in that they can achieve something because, they heard a little bit about what I went through, and I came out on the other side, and with anyone, any story, they're all valid. And they're all beautiful.
I want us to read our poems. Do you have yours ready to go? Yes.
Okay.
So while you're looking that up, I guess I'll recite mine and then I'll let you finish off with yours. And then I'm going to sign us off for the day.
Okay. So you go ahead first. Is that what you said?
Yes. Unless you would like to go first. I just wanted
Nope, you go. I got a fun one. I found a fun poem.
Mine is just for anybody listening. It's a little dark, but it's also, there's light in there. So for anybody listening, little dark, but there's a really great, meaning behind it. You can listen to it. It's interpretive. I'm not good enough to remember my own poetry to recite it just verbatim off the top of my head. So I'm reading it from my notes right now. Anyways, this is a poem I wrote called, I was thinking of the concept of how people use a bunch of vices and things for crutches for themselves, like drugs is one of the big ones. And so I've never really been into drugs myself personally, but I've been around people that have been addicts to things, and I was thinking about them and the concept of how their lives are, and I just kind of wrote this poem from that. A lot of my poetry sometimes comes from the weirdest random things that they're no inspiration. It's just a word, and then I just build something off of it. But anyway, this is called Spellbound. Spellbound. There's a cornucopia of opium, and hopefully it numbs me, because smoking dragons don't comfort their black seed and take a back seat to the matchstick that ignites me. A bit frightening, I believe, but down this dark corridor we trickle nightly. How can my hand betray me? They say that Satan comes for the ones who sit by idly. Guess that's true, and we are but fools. to trust the dopamine that rules us, gives us roles, and we scour and cower at the tower that baffles us, makes us babble and rattle like snakes, undeniable cattle. We are, I am, an addict, attracted to the cobwebs in the attic. It's too static and erratic. It's better to be ballistic and altruistic about existence. But weakness is strongest when you're trapped in the matrix for the longest of times, and no amount of rhymes will help you see better. You must choose to not lose and befriend the wind like in the Book of Alchemy. And everything you see is not you, it's me, and vice versa. Please show mercy to your warm core and not explore a world of poisoning blood for the pressure of a quick pleasure, because trust me, there's much better treasure. Out there is where you'll find it. Beyond gray clouds, there's trumpet sounds and rainbow crowds of rewards, no doubt. Fight out the herds and take this healing herb and see and be and create freely. The dark is monstrous right before the dawn, and if you hold out, stand strong and stout, then your bed monsters will be gone. What matters is all matter, and that we're all fully connected. And if you thought this tale was just about drugs, then you're not that good of a detective. There's oceans drying, UFOs flying, and people dying. All around us is stormy weather, and apart we're as weak as a feather. But tethered together, we're better and strong like steel. I need each other, brothers and sisters and lovers. It's community, you see. I and we can be whatever it is we want. No need for numbing easy dope. That's a quick pleasure hangman's rope. There's hope, and that might be cheese, but it tastes good if you look introspectively. Take this one affirmation and let it sink in. If you know how to lose, eventually you'll know how to win. Dry your eyes in the warmth of the grandiose sunshine. Go blind and then see. Love your youth. Love your feet. Walk and be. I and we and I. Dive and begin to fly. Heaven's waiting for those who try. I cast this spell of love like drugs for you to take and shake the world with an astounding noise. High you are and free like a dove in search of an olive tree. Leave the boat, sure of shore. On this dry land is where you'll finally see. There's a cornucopia of whatever it is you were meant to be. So be.
Ooh, I like that. That's such a beautiful, long one. Wow.
Thank you.
Makes me wish I had my journal
I forgot that it was that long. I should have picked a shorter one.
No, it's beautiful. That was very beautiful. It was very read between the lines, but not. So there's so many different messages within your messages.
I write in riddle a lot too.
Yeah, totally. I feel you on that. I chose I actually just went to my social media and chose one that I had written before. And this one, because we talk so much about love and the power of self-love, this is just a fun little one. Because so as a little backstory, like through my journey, I'm also very open with my physical body and sharing that story to inspire other women just to love themselves. Like literally just love yourself for who you are, because you're so beautiful. Don't let the scale dictate how you feel about yourself. So this is just a quick poem as a reminder that you should love yourself now.
Okay.
Spiritually, it works. Scientifically, it works. It strengthens your immune system. There's so many reasons why loving yourself is so important and not just floofy, you know? So after losing over 150 pounds, I also showed my body through boudoir photos and really honoring myself in every journey of my stage, as we all should. So this is a fun poem, and this is more like my little rap. Sometimes when I'm running in the forest, poems just flow, and I don't always get to write them down, but sometimes I do. And this was one. So it's quick, it's short, not quite like yours. And this one's not deep. This one's light. I've got bumps, I've got lumps, I've got bruises and scars. I've got more fucking dents than a Dodge Neon car. Been doing that shadow work, I've come super far. I line up those fears like I used to down shots at the bar. Drinking up love to blast through the dark. Like a dog on the prowl, you won't hear me growl, but you will hear me bark. I love myself now, I love myself then. With this mentality, I can't help but win. That's it.
I love it. It's so fun.
Short and sweet.
Like I must start giving you a beat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost gives you a beat. That was awesome, Mandi.
There.
Thank you so
Music
much.
is another hobby I never talked about, but man, it's good. One day we'll have to make a song.
Let's have another conversation. Let's come on here again. We'll talk about music next time.
I love that.
Thank you so much for coming on here. Like, you are awesome. Bless you, child. This is so great. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Wrestling Diaries. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts for the audio content. Leave us a review. Please, please, please go to YouTube, like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to get our updates on our content. What do you wrestle with, and how can you beat it? One love.